Welcome back, folks, to the ESL Pro League, and thanks for staying tuned just to fill you guys in, because you deserve the information. We had a bit of a connection issue with one of the Renegades players. We gave them time to fix their issue, and then all it took was a server change and a router restart to finally get us primed for the final back-to-back match of the night. Of course, you guys are going to be watching Rogue versus Renegades, and we kicked this one off on Dust2.
Should be a bit more of a fast-paced map, just the nature of the map on Dust2. And these two teams going head-to-head, as you can see by the logos, they have a lot in common, I feel like, in terms of level of consistency, skill across the board. And they've got that same shrouded look that makes you think.
A little mysterious, these logos, aren't they?
Yeah,
shrouded
definitely.
in secrecy. But there will be no secrets once the action gets started. Everybody's going to lay it out on the line. Back and forth starts to the season. Obviously, again, right, two of the teams that have gone through roster changes since the last season of Pro League, and I would say more notably Renegades having swapped out two. An Aussie and a Kiwi. I like Kiwis.
Grapefruit, super underrated. Not often seen, but always welcomed.
Yeah, and I'd say the same goes for our new friend in the form of a New Zealander. First time I've actually had the pleasure of casting one, especially in a league like this. So, Renegades start off on the T side. It's going to be Rogue on the defense, and they have left mid open for the taking. With that smoke grenade down, it's going to make the job of the CT player a little bit harder, and the B defenders will be split in two directions. But Jacob already starting to just charge up through the ramp. Vice is thinking about maybe going through smoke, but he's got to be cautious. It's Vice with two headshots. Yes, he nails the timing and sick pins Jacob to the wall. So that's three swift headshots here for Rogue. A fourth thanks to Crystal, who just pops up and executes, as does the entirety of Rogue. That's 5 guys alive and a very swift start.
That was such great contributions from, there's so many great contributions from each of those players. And obviously Sick is a player that we saw on Dust2 play B-side extremely well. And knows how to play that spot to perfection. But overall, good push to the smoke from Vice, as you mentioned, well timed, and ooh, the odds, yeah, couldn't be closer for good reason.
I'd say that's fair.
Yeah, this seems like it's probably going to be the longest series of the night, or at least it's set up to be. And I think that stylistically, the rounds will probably be a little bit faster than what we saw with Luminosity. Definitely renowned to take their time. Ghost, we saw how long they played out their anti-ecos. I think overall the pace should be at an all-time high for us, even if it does come down to around 28, 29, or 30. But Renegades pulling out that simple fake up cat. I like it a lot. I feel strongly about the fact that if you expel too much utility, you're wasting your time on Dust2. It's very easy to push rotations to one side, and all you really need to make sure of is that the CT at mid is on the right side of the smoke in CT spawn, and that's as simple as throwing an Xbox smoke, feigning a little bit of cat presence, and that's it. You get your 3-2. Now, beyond that point, when rotations come in, they might have a little bit more to deal with, but apart from that, it's pretty good. Wow, that was a really nice, well-timed peek from Liaz.
Good night, Hiko. And another man down, Ricky, tagged up. Gotta be cautious. I mean, we talked about like the faster pace that could be set, but I wouldn't be surprised if rounds like this one are taken a little slower. The investment from Renegades means that they want to hope Rogue makes a mistake, and with Rogue having an edge, they don't want to throw this away.
Hiko also was incredibly consistent on these long duels, and there was just like a really small point in time in which Liaz could peek him, but he picked the opportune moment. And this leaves Vice in the wake of Hiko's death, camping out on his weapon. And with 3 guns remaining, it's a successful eco for Renegades, but it's not like that hard reset we're used to seeing on the second round if things go on their heads. I think Rogue will feel okay about this. It's not going to be the best position, obviously, and it's nice for Renegades. They got 5 alive, but they actually haven't recovered any of the guns, so they're going to have to spend a lot of money here. This is a very rare thing to see.
It's weird, right? A round gets added to the board, but it's not like there's all that many losses for Rogue. It's not like Renegades get everything they could have hoped for.
Yeah,
so, just a weird one, but it does move us forward to the 3rd round regardless. So nicely done by Renegades there. I like that they work that way up cat. Once they get a couple kills, they just kind of soften middle, soften long, and then split it down the center.
Yeah, typically you see a round like that. I mean, you're going to have the Ts not have to rebuy, pick up the SMGs, pick up the rifles, but Rogue did a good job of protecting them. And now they have bought down to 0.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at the cash, only Gratisfaction above 2,000. Everybody else 200 or sub.
So good chance for Rogue to straight up win this one back. And it's Renegades who have encroached on long control, very much a focal point of the map on Dust2. And there are 3 CTs on Cat in prime retake positions, and no one here to try to pinch them. So even if they do get the site, the round is not going to be over. The bomb is holding the flank. I'm not sure how that happens, but he's got to come through.
Yeah, eventually he's going to start moving forward. Lee has Dink. Jacob is well tagged up. I mean, this is excellent initial damage from Rogue, but they got to follow it up with the actual frags. 3 of the 5 Ts substantially damaged. Finally, one does go down, but in the meantime, Rogue, they're at a heavy loss. This is quite wild. I mean, Rogue, they're on the cusp of actually taking down the vast majority of these Renegades. Unable to do so in the end, but just a few shots to each one would keep this one even keeled. Not going to happen. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but I really didn't see Renegades even winning that after they got up long. It seemed like they were taking so much damage. They were certainly about to get mowed down. Rogue were in a good spot. They overstacked to make up for, to compensate for the amount of guns they were missing. Just overall amount of utility and just... And is that 6 doesn't have armor somehow? I'm not sure how that went down. If he was the one to buy the FAMAS or if he scooped it up from his teammate. Maybe he was one of the ones who could only get a pistol or potentially drop. But Renegades survive with 4. They keep 4 alive. They get the rebuys. They hold on to these AKs that were indefinitely in jeopardy. And Rogue are back to the basics. They have a couple of grenades in hand now. Spend a little bit of money to even up to around 2K. Stick a little bit lower because he's wanted to invest in half armor for the FAMAS. Totally reasonable. And it's back to long.
Yeah, where they will have the double grenade set up, I'd assume. One of the frags actually bounces off of the wall, so while Gratisfaction's tagged up, he's not dealt with. AWP on him, so his life that much more valuable. Quick little commitment here from Renegades, already trying to pry up from Cat. And once they do start rounding corners, they will meet Crystal, who's on ramp. But look, Wanders, he has nothing, just a USP.
Terrible spot. Oh, wow. He's got a bit of aim, too, huh?
Yeah. Manages to really kind of push Azza back. Deep frag doesn't do anything either, so Renegades in a bit of a pickle.
Look at all these CTs. They're all just ready for an A hit.
Still enough time for Renegades to redirect. Then again, those CT players could still have a line of sight if there's no smoke down from the terrorists. And there is currently no smoke left over. So it's going to be frags and flashes and an advantage in the form of guns. Slice is done instantly. P250 going through. Everybody tagged. This is just like the previous round.
Yeah, they just need to get going at this point. They're just fighting a smoke. That's exactly what the CTs want. And Sick is here on the flank, the only man with a gun. And he's making it interesting for sure. The bomb gets dropped in no man's land. Jacob's here. He's low HP.
Whoa, this is wonky. This is wild and a little bit weird. Azza able to catch Ricky and Sick down. So once the smokes fades, once the peaks come in, and once those duels have to be had, you know exactly how it happens.
Once again, unbelievable that Renegades survived with that many players. Like, you could see where they were messing it up, where they had all those players out mid, but they were just not making their way up to the B site. And instead, like, fighting a smoke, which is, again, exactly what the CTs wanted to. But by some stroke of luck, they all get tagged down very low, but very few of them actually get killed. And they take that money into this next round, looking very solid at the moment. And they can totally write that off if they pick it up from here. Seems like Renegades do have good strategies. The follow-through is not completely there. So there's a chance that Rogue can try to exploit this. But they let too many rounds slip, and then they can just say bye to this half.
A little bit of a movement here from that big Colonel defense in Rogue's A presence. Pushing up Catwalk. We saw from them yesterday pretty consistently, actually, the two-man expedition. But Jacob's got to be cautious or his head's going to be ripped clean off just like that. Jumps a little preemptively, but despite having his crosshair position to predict this peak, cannot get the best of Vice, who then has eyes on bomb. Liaz versus Hiko, that's what's happening on long, and well, it's the Renegades with another bit of an advantage. Crystal up close on the MP5, jumping and just spraying simultaneously, somehow takes him. I don't understand that gun yet.
Maybe the accuracy is just a bit too good if you're like that enticed to jump twice while shooting. That's just looking a little crazy. That's basically Quake at that point, so I don't know if that's how the gun was intended to be used. We know run and gun is normal for SMGs. I'm totally fine with that. I think that makes sense, but run and jump and gun, I'm not sure I'm on board with this.
Where we gotta draw the line. DDK will be excited.
Potentially, yeah. Can get the bomb down. He's actually just gonna hold on to all his utility. 19 seconds left. Smoke will go out. This is typically a smoke you want to play in front of, and I think he also does want to try to find a fight. I don't really like just sitting out here in the most obvious to clear angle.
Frag out. Molotov's next. Vice is both softened and now prevented from running outwards, but another molly at his feet. He didn't like the positioning. Neither did I. Eventually, just caught out into the open. I mean, that Molotov really spells disaster for him. Therefore, the defuse is good. Very close, though. Nice attempt. If he had slowed down another couple bodies, then who knows. However, 3v1, they overwhelm him with numbers, and it is Rogue with another round.
Yeah, I hate the backseat game, especially in clutch situations where you can be creative, and we don't know where he thinks the people are going to come from, but maybe if he thought it was going to be majority cat, obviously he's making the correct decision, the least risky. But if he thought there was only like one or two, I feel like you could have thrown that smoke and then played in front of it, waited for that kill. He could have, the bomb would have been planted for him, but if he even delayed at that point with the Molotov from cat after getting cat control, he would have got his kills early, got a really good spot to sit in, and then could have delayed and forced them to peek him. But that did not happen. JKS also dying. Was that JKS who died last round? Or was that Jacob?
Which
JJ.
one? I mean, they all died.
I mean, in the clutch.
Oh, in the clutch, that was JKS.
JKS, okay, yeah. So yeah, Ricky hits a nice flick in B. Putting Renegades in a more precarious spot than if he didn't.
Oh boy, through smoke, Crystal gets Azza. Jacob's not going to let him escape. Whoa, nearly finding another kill there, but no, it is Hiko to give cover, and another one down. You poke at Vice, and Hiko's got him covered.
Yeah,
Big
Hiko
brother.
getting a little bit of redemption this round after kind of just dying at his opening duels, which he was so good at locking down yesterday. So just Liaz, the smoke and the Molotov to help guys his cross, or maybe just bait out a peek. It seems like he's going to wait this out a little bit, but 6 there from behind to make sure that he can't do anything fishy. 3-3 now, and it just seems so up in the air, right?
Yeah, I mean, Renegades, they got them on that second round, and even then, it wasn't the most shaky. Remember, Rogue actually managed to keep 3 guys alive in that one, so I feel like Rogue restabilizing isn't that big of a surprise. This is supposed to be a close matchup. And Renegades are back into the pistol, but if it does go into those kinds of, 16-14 type situations, if we really get close, I'm anticipating Rogue to have an edge still in the sense that they are a 4-man unit, and Crystal, and we used this kind of term yesterday again, a plug-and-play type player, where you can just slot him in, and I think he very quickly understands what tools teams have and where he can utilize those sorts of tools. So you've got a lot of experience with Rogue as well. I mean, Hiko, first of all. And Ricke's been around for quite some time.
Definitely like how Rogue are playing for map control here in the long doors. Not a less played position for sure.
Nice.
But laying it down with the MP5.
3 kills for him. Nice little multi-frag. All headshots, too. That's just a little bit of a bonus point. It's retrieved by Gratisfaction, but remember, he was tagged up in the engagement, so he's on wobbly legs.
Definitely expect a lot out of Ricky. It was a wonder to a lot of us when he would finally get picked up after the whole CLG fiasco, and it's great that he found a good team to fall back on. And Hiko, just using that Hiko game sense to lock down the last 2. So minimal losses. Rogue pick up another one, buy up for Renegades. And we get right back to it. What will happen now? Rogue have done some interesting stuff so far. The 3-cat push, kind of walk up to stop anyone from coming up, was well timed. Again, they have like 2 superpowers in Hiko and Vice holding the opposite sides of the map down for the straight up rushes. And Renegades are back to long control.
Vice back in on the cat control.
Yeah, big fan of this. Whoa, weird smokes here. Ricky, does he want to go back onto the site? It's going to be hard to get there once those smokes are gone. And he has a lot more mobility back to his teammates if he does now. Fighting from CT can be very unfun sometimes.
It's the kind of double smoke situation that makes me really nervous. Whenever something seems out of the blue or unorthodox, it's like, you know, you start running all these situations through your head, whether or not this is intentional, whether or not they're going to try to play off of this, how you would if you were on the other side. It's not one of those situations where, you know, you've run it a million times, and so there are maybe 3 options to take.
Yeah, the game tape is limited for sure.
Yeah, because that does happen. There are elements of CS like that, right? You can only run out B tunnels so many different ways. But long A opens up some more options.
So they finally start to get the pincer move going. No cat presence just yet, and it is Rogue to hold on to that. And again, you don't fight from sight. You pick one, long or cat. Ricky understand that there is an open pit. I don't know if you actually saw that. Ooh, spots his shoulder. If he was just a tad quicker, would have easily been able to find a frag there. Interesting defensive smoke late in the round. Could make the difference.
Yeah, it leaves a bit of a gap for him to still try and work with. And the Molotov fades really early on. It's a big leg shot onto Liaz, softens him up. We saw Ricky with a beautiful 1v3 from that spot yesterday, but will not happen this time around. In fact, Rogue finally on the kill feed once they've lost 3 of their 4 players, and he goes on 8 HP, so they just tuck tail and dip out. That is a tied game once more.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking how these entries are falling into place, even though Rogue are overstacking the correct sites. When Renegades are going for long control, it's almost always successful, even when the time is ticking down and there are multiple players fighting from A. And I think maybe if Rogue were to dedicate more resources to long, especially for these late round situations, they might be able to stop Renegades before it's too late. Though at the same time, I agree with their setup. Like, I agree that they probably had an advantage if you just freeze frame right before any kills go down as they're coming up long. It feels like Rogue definitely should be able to win those. So maybe they just run it back and it's a new game, or maybe they try to change it up and take control of long early on. Definitely a couple of options here as they have lots of money to work with, but it is 4-4 and it is still, again, up in the air as to who is really in control right now. As the CT, you're really rolling the dice with how you start off the round. Long and short are so far away from each other. You've just got to pick one or two. You don't know what the other team's spawns are.
This is a big B push, Mohan. They're already back out from tunnels. Car player instantly taken care of. That was sick. Who was supposed to get something for his efforts, but finds nothing instead. And Crystal, before even seeing anybody, sits on 5 points of health. So Hiko's grenade will get the job done. Whoops.
That's one way to start a save. Yeah, Sick actually just got completely overrun. Didn't seem to expect what was coming to him. Somehow, JKS gets this kill. Oh my gosh, 2 players there ready and waiting, and he still manages to find one with just some patient tapping. I'm shocked to see it.
I'm surprised he didn't see his head sooner.
True. It's funny, like, every time you die while you're saving, that's a player that could have gone for the miracle retake. You know,
Yeah.
like you might as well have in some sense.
But Renegades taking control. I like the fact that just out of nowhere they go for a straight up B rush. Not something we had seen yet from them in this game. And you always ask yourself, right? I feel like it's an inevitability with the T sides of Dust2. Eventually, there will be a 5-man B rush. It's all a matter of when does it happen.
It's just a matter of when. That's absolutely correct. Like, it's a play you keep in your back pocket, and there's always a situation, some point in the half, you've got the spawn, you know that the utility is in your favor, you're just going to go for it.
It's the Blue Eyes White Dragon of Dust2.
Right, the Exodia.
That makes more sense. It's a 5-piece play. That was a great analogy.
Wow, I didn't even realize. Jeez, I'm just so smart.
You're smarter than you realize.
Smart, humble. Wow, I don't even know.
The most humble, some would say. Dodging nades in the bottom of middle is Jacob. Seen that cap play kind of fade away so far for Rogue the last couple of rounds with guns. But still the double up on the long presence, so they're bolstering the A defense. I feel like you know, a 5-man B rush can sometimes be used to condition a second B defender to go over. And then, therefore, it's sometimes common to see a quick B hit from a terrorist team, then back into the A site immediately. And since the beginning of this game was consistently A and A again, you know, it could be meant to condition, but therefore, Rogue's 4-man defense here at the A site, I'd say, is justified.
So what will happen now? Cat presence is finally here, and one of the very few times in the entire half that Renegades are going to come up on Cat and not see a single person, nor do we see a re-aggression from the CTs late. Instead, they've gone for that overstack at long. So after seeing this utility come out, you're going to be aware of what's to come. But Crystal is actually in the face of a mid to B execute, looking like the pistol round right now.
Sick, overwhelmed last round, could fall victim to the exact same thing. Does get peeked and definitely dealt with.
Good entries from him.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's hitting shots.
Not easy to kill Sick in any capacity.
No, he's a really good anchor, I find.
Yeah, absolutely. Super consistent. You know when he's in the site, and you're on his team, you're looking up the kill feed, you know he's alone for a few seconds, you're expecting him to get 2 almost every time.
And that's something that we saw from Rogue yesterday on Dust2, was this consistent B lockdown, right? It was completely closed. So far, Renegades 2 for 2 on that portion of the map.
Now we got the saves one more time. So entry has been the name of the game for Renegades. They've done a great job. Some of the executes look a little bit suspect at points. But almost everything else is working out. Along with bomb plants and oh my god.
Wall banks too.
Yeah. So 4 to 6, they're starting to get their feet on the ground. Rogue will probably have to take this one on the chin. I don't know if they buy behind the op of Ricky. It's probably tempting, but that would be quite the force. I don't know. They've still got a lead as well. Wait, isn't it Renegades with 6? It definitely is.
Yep.
Oh, that little graphic, I think I had it backwards. Unlucky. Oh yeah.
That door bang.
Get in the spaceship.
I like slow motion sounds. It's weird, I know, but I've got to admit it.
That was awesome.
The first step to recovery is admitting it. What's really fun is to go back. All right, everybody, if you got time, right? Next time there's a pause, you open up a second window, you head on over to YouTube, you look up some of the biggest ESL, casting moments, and then play it in slow motion.
And play them in slow motion? Is that what you do?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Are you under the influence at all when you take part in these excursions?
Oh, I thought you meant right now.
Excursion. No. If you were right now, I wouldn't even call you out on it though. So I'll leave it up to the viewer to decide.
Mohan, what'd they do? They bought around with Hiko. Or they didn't buy that AK actually. They just have it. It's the op on Ricky, AK for Hiko. Little curb purchase, right?
Yeah.
Shave off some cash.
Absolutely.
Some tidbits of utility and a trio of sidearms, but not much of a change. Again, just locking down this long play, and I'm going to start guessing it, second guessing it after a while, because I feel like Renegades, they're not throwing themselves out those doors anymore. It's really been this insistent cat hit.
Yeah, that's fine. They don't have to. They just have to pick one and hold it, and then they can play for the retake. But as long as they've got one or the other, rotations are going to be a little bit easier. Not leaving a single person here. One thing Renegades have not been doing is splitting. They've been just going 5 cat, 5 long, or out mid B.
Would make sense with recent roster changes, right? Not getting all too elaborate. Sometimes you don't want to get caught up in the technicalities. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it cleared. CT spawn, pushed by Azza and Gratisfaction. Then the entry over towards the B bomb site as well. So, Sick. He's not on B for once, and the end result the same. He's going to be cleared out, and Renegades establish a 3-point lead.
Yeah, and in the final moments of the round, just as it has been going, like all of the entries are falling into place. So Renegades, the trades are all there. Everyone's just slightly better than their opponent, and that seems to be a consistent feature of this team. Not something I would expect you could rely on, but it seems to be catching Rogue off guard for sure. So back on the op is Ricky. Ooh, and a little bit damage traded as Gratisfaction hits one through the wall. And that's our B anchor, so it's going to be hard pressed to want to leave him alone unless you've absolutely got to gamble.
Oh. Earlier tonight, Renegades actually took 2 maps off of Complexity, one of which in double OT. So that means Renegades are currently 4-0. Just as good as Ghosts.
Nice.
They could be finishing the night with 5 or 6 wins as well, depending on how much of a fight Rogue can erect. Another one of those middle-of-the-pack teams coming to a flying start, but it could also come to a grinding halt if Rogue can ever get their feet beneath them. Has not been the case as of yet. It's been quite some time, actually, since Rogue added a round to the board.
Oh, push is going to come through. JKS That's going to be easy for him. Oh my god, does he even want to... That's it, clapped. They realize they've got the man advantage. They've got a liaison to come through into B. And the two rotators now have absolutely no play to make.
Nico just wants something, and will find himself one frag, 2 to the bottom of the tunnels. But the Molotov denies any further movement there, so he's going to have to run straight into the site. Knows the Gratisfaction's up by the window, and it is the AWP player. Funny enough, he could actually isolate duels, but Liaz gets into position right away.
8 rounds, and now they are starting to distance themselves heavily from Rogue and JKS. Yeah, he had a time here where he could kind of play with his food, but he realized that all he needs is the kill, and his teammates have got to come through into tunnels, and he wants to know that there was going to be a double touch of sorts to get any of that last-minute information into B before they hit it. Now, long control. 3 versus 3. Jacob goes out to the right looking for late flashes. Actually gets pick control as well, and he's going to have a good time spraying from here. Excellent second frag.
Just knocks them all down immediately. Rogue, they have the body count, but they didn't quite have the guns, nor did they have the answer to stop Renegades, because this T side is getting away from them. Something of a stoppage with 6 scout in position. Now they know at least half of Rogue is on this A site, so they could just take that bomb elsewhere.
Yeah.
Or they're going to give Azure a chance to continue the success here for their team. Crystal spotted as the 5-7 rounds the corner. He'll upgrade into the AK, has the Kevlar and grenades behind it, but the bomb is elsewhere, planted on B. Most certainly should be a 9-4.
Yeah, definitely got to play the bomb clock just a little bit more before they start going for these kills, just in case it gets something done, and that's a good way to start. Technically, the goal's wide open, but he is just too far at the moment. Might be end of the road here for Crystal, but he does go ahead and get the second kill. 42 HP, and it doesn't seem like Gratisfaction wants to risk the op. I can totally understand why.
Yeah, I definitely don't blame him.
Oh. He's coming out with the pistol.
Listen, he's new.
Yeah, new guy.
We'll give him 1.
Not a great player coming from a new team. Just started playing recently. That was weird. I thought he had like the next gen 10,000 IQ call your rotation back play, and he was just going to creep out with the op.
Well, the Dak.
The Dak, yeah. As Jacob clears diggity.
I'll only call it that if the Aussies are in the server. You know, it's like an homage.
Whoa. I want to say Crystal just got spammed through the double doors. Some of that had to be wallbang damage. But he was melted away. May his soul rest in peace. Oof. Okay.
Oh my.
Sick went ahead and bought that fracture device.
5v3 off of something like that. They're going to go for the tunnels push, and they'll be met by JKS. You notice that they're clearing the corner he was in last time. Doesn't, of course, net him a double, but still 1 kill is good. It at least reveals the information of Rikke, and with 2 snipers up for Rogue, this save could be instrumental.
Could be hard, too.
Most certainly.
Just full utility belts. Basically, all of these kills coming from straight up pure aim duels. The CTs have used most of what they have. Bomb certainly goes down here. No reason for anyone to cross from long. And then they can think about how they approach finding these saving players who are nowhere to be found at the moment. They've already got a head start.
If you're Renegades, how much do you chase? You've got a lot of money.
Yeah, no, I definitely like they're chasing down 2 ops that Rogue won't be able to have next round. And it's going to be just too hard for them to come back from it. I feel like throw people at them 100%. Start running.
Probably waiting for a teammate's flash. Jacob going to burst into the doors, and I don't believe that Rikke has an angle here to help on the site.
Oh my god.
Renegade trade. He's in position. He's certainly going to be challenged now. He's trying to retreat. He knows they're coming in and he misses his shot. Both ops down. Rogue just getting worked right now.
Absolutely.
The body and the face.
The body and the face. Yeah, they're dizzy. They're seeing stars.
Must be looking in a mirror. Because these Renegades are on fire.
Nice. Now, can they do it? Will it be the 11-4 or the 5-10? Much more manageable scoreline. Sick. Takes so much damage crossing B, and that's just the life of a B player, isn't it?
Yep, and then of course he's going to get rushed by 3 terrorists too, because that's the way B goes. Flirts with the idea of peeking back indoors. He knows that there's already... Oh, another leg shot. Wonders I'm going to be sick to my stomach. This isn't even fair. Continues to just stack up into the favor of Renegades. I highly anticipate an 11-4 scoreline unless somehow Rogue can disrupt this B take. It's difficult to retake to begin with, let alone once half your players are tagged and now 2 dead. Body bagged as well.
They haven't even seen them. They haven't even seen any CTs. They've just been spamming all the correct angles.
Wall bangs and grenades, and more grenades after the fact. So the first time they see someone, they actually do get a kill. Sure enough, Jacob's dead. I'm curious to see how Rikke gets into this equation, because he did wrap around from the tunnels, and sure enough, he blindsides JKS. 2 players committed to the back of the flat means that they're going to be in the open for Rikke to try and take. Liaz nearly manages to deal with it, but it is then swiftly shut down, and even though he's an Aussie too, they have no mercy for him.
Whoa. Yeah, that got way more sketchy than it seemed it would, but at the end of the day, Renegades seal it up.
With the start of that game, I thought we were going to have one that was super back and forth. Like that was what I just kind of predicted prior to this game even going to a start. You know, we had the back and forth 1-1, the 3-3, 4-4, and then 11-4.
And then 11-4, yeah, straight up. And it really felt like it was Renegades who were the ones who were shaky in those early rounds. Some of their executes pushing into the last few seconds, but just like in the later rounds, it came down to the entries. And, you know, I think everybody contributed. It's hard to even pick a name in particular that stood out to me. Maybe Liaz on a couple of those rounds, very important rifle rounds. Only a handful of those in every half. He was able to kill Sick like cleanly once in B site. I mean, Sick looked non-existent.
Yeah.
The way that they were attacking him. And part of that is unfortunately having to get spammed through the door, but that's part of the game. It really is part of the game when it comes to Dust2.
The only map with such a feature. So try to make the most of it when you have it. Bottom tunnel already starting to tap. These are the new guys on the block here between Liaz and Gratisfaction, so both allocated on Cat. They have support as well through middle doors. 2 more players there, and already a tunnels push. I like that aggressive positioning from JKS. The bomb carrier should be caught completely off guard. Most certainly is. Sure, Vice gets something done. 1 kill, but no bomb control already in the pistol. 1:13 to try and retrieve it, and you can see the CTs just looking to rapidly get their way over there.
Yeah, they basically have post-plant positions on this bomb right now. It's going to take the whole round to get this back, and that's a very important frag.
JKS, he goes one further. Knowing that the CTs are inbound to take his initial position, he flies all the way up into T-spawn and finds another one off guard. So a pistol could spell utter destruction versus Rogue.
No real need to peek. Definitely show face so that they don't come in clear angles too quickly. The name of the game is delaying for time as much as possible. And you know, even if they do show face here, they could give up the bomb if they had to. Pick the site that they think it's going to if it comes that close, but apart from that, it's just going to be hard as ever to get this.
Still trying to work these flashbangs. Azur has another. Vice makes a lot of noise, but he lines up 2. Just like that, Rogue back into the pistol. Azur's going to get smoked off, and he's just going to continue to spam through it. He's got 20 bullets total, and he's really playing this down. Vice lingers a bit, but then will go join Crystal, both of which inside of this site. Azur just immediately runs forward, tags up 1 more. Remember, 9 bullets in the magazine, 4 surplus. That is not a lot. You've got to be accurate, surgical at times. And he's now got it down to the 1v1, but that's where Crystal shines. 11-5, Rogue with a very crucial pistol.
How did they bring that back? Renegades, the spots, apparently there was like a huge exploit here. Vice should not be able to shoot anyone in the back of the head. They're 2v3. They only have 3 choke points to worry about, and yet Somehow, I think JCast is like in between two angles. It doesn't know which one to hold.
Yeah, I think that if the counter terrorists are even just off position, then that doesn't happen, right? It's the fact that that quick flank catches the first one off guard, and they just line straight up.
Yeah.
So a little blessing there for Rogue to start off the half. But remember, who won the first pistol, Launders? Only to lose 11-4.
Right, right. So that doesn't mean the game's over, that's for sure. And you usually see in situations where a team is getting stomped, that carries on into the second round of the second pistol. Just because of the confidence, just because everyone's hitting shots, just because there's indecision. So we've got a match pause tack called by Rogue. Don't want to make sure they lock this up. I don't think they were planning on getting this far. Definitely very common on the anti-egos to focus on long. It's very simple, can be expected, but they've got two great spawns right here. And you have so many advantages once you've got long control. The most tricky part is getting out there first and trying not to run into a stack. And we know that CTs love to nade it. One thing that I think is cool that not a lot of people are abusing enough is grenade physics, like running sideways to throw nades.
Yeah.
If they can time that properly.
Trigonometry.
Trigonometry.
An advanced technique.
Oh, okay. It's actually a tech timeout now.
Oh,
They swap TeamSpeak servers.
we've transitioned. But we switched game servers. I think this is only fair.
Yeah.
Shake it all up.
No, we know VoIP problems are the least annoying problems.
Yep. And what did we say the most was? Dismemberment?
Yeah, nearly dying due to blood loss because you lost all your limbs. Yeah, that would suck. And it would be a problem. I mean, you don't even find a fifth at that point, right?
No. 'Tis but a flesh wound.
Incredibly awkward considering they'd be in a team house as well. I'm sure that would be the least of their concerns. Woo, this is awkward.
Yeah. Leaz, why aren't you moving? Oh my god.
At what point does this joke go too far? I have no idea.
Are Renegades in a team house?
That is a interesting question.
Because I mean, look, they've come over from Australia, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming they don't all have individual apartments.
That's probably true. Something that teams are doing though is not as having individual apartments in like one
Yeah, like
complex.
a-
They'll
like
have
a sports
whole row of
complex,
houses.
right.
Yeah, so they like live together, but they don't actually have to see each other like right when they wake up, which is
That's-
probably good.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I mean, I
I'm
love
not
working
sure.
with you, but
Yeah, like not all of us are socially well adjusted, you know, like if I had to wake up and see Connor every single day, I mean like that would be kind of, but you get it.
I mean, I did walk you to the Mac store the other day. You know, I helped you
I'll
out
never
there.
forget that actually. That was very nice of you. It was raining.
I hate the rain. I hate the rain. One of the worst of weather conditions, but Azur's going to make it rain right into the brain of Ricky. Deleted through the door. Remember, those wall bangs go both directions.
That's true. It's a give and take game. Crystal? All right. Make sure not to get flashed, I suppose. Immortals League. Interesting. Wonder who his player of choice is. Long
Steal.
range Galeels.
Ooh. You know what? I feel like if anybody can actually use a Galil, it's Crystal.
Yeah?
For whatever reason.
He's a Galil master?
Yeah. Because I despise this weapon alongside many others.
There's not
Most
much
likely
to like.
because I can't make it work.
You know, and there's no shame in that because I don't think it has anything to do with skill personally, but conversation for another time, potentially. Or is it? Rogue are being very patient, but looking a lot like Renegades, taking their time to get up long. Let's see if it pans out the same way it did for Renegades, which was very fruitfully.
They do have that one smoke for the cross. It should be perfect. If it's not, there'll be gaps and problems to try and deal with, on top of the fact that they need to get these kills. So, Molly's deep. Smoke's there. We've got players trying to get up and over. Gratisfaction nearly nailing another headshot. They could go for the boost in front of the smoke to disrupt this plant. You gotta stand. You've got to stand. And because they don't, it's not denied. Instead, the jumping deagle shots attempted and denied. JKS now closing the gap. Up close, the peaks come in. The T's looking down and taking a lot of damage for it is Crystal, but even despite that, they've managed to keep this one now in their hands. Hiko, long range with a Galil versus a double scout. You have to think he could be at a disadvantage, but now he's revealed and he's distracted. It's the other player defusing this bomb. It's down to the halfway point. I mean, this is a 10-second stick, and Hiko, he can't hit it. 27 health, are you kidding me? Oh my goodness, the last possible second. That one's got you puckered.
You see how he used the Galil, and he tried to be very patient.
It doesn't work like that.
Tapped. Oh. Almost 35 bullets. That's some ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
He almost defused
I want to save that clip. I want to show that clip to everybody.
Anytime you see someone
he won that round with a Glock, by the way.
Yeah. You know when you switch to the Glock, there's a problem. Man, 35 shots in the mag doesn't get it done, but the sidearm sure as hell does. Entirety of Renegades here towards long. An armada of counter-terrorists. Grenades could just smash them back.
It's just got such good skins, though. This is the Galil Eco. It's like the perfect pun.
Matches his gloves, yeah.
Yeah, and it's got like the little recycling logo on it.
Yep. I have a chatterbox. Whoa! It's a lot of CTs just immediately emerging, and they will be ripped to shreds.
That was good. Renegade spent put everybody there, just wanted to go for the late retake. And I don't know if they had did they use a flash to try to retake it? Would have been a nice touch. I think they were just looking for contact, maybe.
The long push.
The long push.
Yeah.
So Rogue still down quite a few rounds. Ricky's got a spawn. He wants to go out. Takes a tiny bit of damage from this Molotov. And this is where it gets crazy.
Great grenade. Gratisfaction down to 3. That's because he's unarmored. The glass cannon almost shattered. But he has, despite having a position, and the M4 is going to find absolutely nothing for his efforts. So 1 down and 1 nearly dead. Gratisfaction lucky to be alive. He's repositioned over towards Catwalk, where they could find contact versus Vice. That is the fact.
Very good for him. Very good of him to watch for that, obviously. Yakin will actually find another player. Goes in for more. Adds 3. That's so nice.
He's going to retreat, having lost his teammate over the shoulder. Molotov down means nobody can give chase, but this is another one of those 2v2s where anything can happen. Things can get wild and weird. How do you play this?
From whose perspective? As Rogue?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of moves to be made on both sides. So we can see the CTs are being very fluid as well. Picking either side as a gamble. It looks like as they wait the round out, it's Renegades who are magnetized to the center just to have the most consistent approach. And now they're getting info at long, which is interesting because I think at this point he's very far away from B. Jacob might go in to get some info, and now they're deciding to run back. But the site is taken. 2v2 after plant is not going to be easy. Azar actually picks up a couple of grenades, however, and is in tunnels just in time.
Rick is aware of this, though. Try to keep eyes behind. Nothing to distract him back towards sight, so Azar doesn't expect that whatsoever. You can see the way he gives up his shoulders. Normally really good at those sorts of peaks, but Jacob could still nail the ace. Absolutely not. Sick with a headshot and Rogue with another round. So we cut down this lead, Launders, to 3.
Yeah, that could have been nice. I don't know why Azar wasn't more afraid of anybody in the tunnel, but clearly just assumed they wouldn't be brave enough to get all up in his face. They were wrong, and now Rogue win. Another unlikely round, and good halves, or good starts to the halves for both teams, where it seems like a few of these early rounds are just, we don't know how they're actually falling into the favor of the aggressors. Opening kills are critical, eco or not. But after Liaz goes down, Rogue decided to fall back just a little bit. Gratisfaction getting the most of Ricky, however, pulling all the way down with his P250 to compensate for the recoil. Won't be able to recover a rifle.
There's a big entry towards mid. could most certainly enable this split. As you see two branch off into each direction. Who's going to have to hold it? That would be Jacob. And even despite having the mini machine gun, he is dropped, popped, and swiftly dealt with. So who's next? No one. Renegades are elsewhere.
Were you gonna say rolled?
Yeah.
Drop pops and rolled. We rolled because I roll over in your grave.
Would have worked, I think.
Rolled up in a carpet, defenestrated. 1,000 ways to die. Do you remember that TV show?
Yeah, I do. Of course.
What a
They
funny
had
show
they had
that
some of
was.
the coolest animations. Like, you know, when the, let's say, like, the accident would unfold and it, like, you get, like, the X-ray version of the person. And their bones are just like...
Oh my goodness. That was on Spike, right?
Of course it
I think
was.
they closed down.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. They did a whole thing my friend was producing where they had the banner for Spike and they burned it on the stream. But then when they burned it, the banner like fell while it was burning.
Spike fights back.
That was the last thing for Spike.
You know what that show
Pepperonis.
taught me? There's a lot of stupid people in the world.
Yeah, there's tons out there. Left, right, and center.
And they never know it, so I could very easily be one.
That's true. I mean, you just opened my eyes to that fact as well. And I suppose I'm potentially on that list.
Betway odds still incredibly close, but looks like Renegades have a slight edge. Whoa, get out. Get out.
Running from the bullets to the nades.
Yeah, pick your poison.
Yeah. Pick your marriage. I was learning Danish.
It's the same sound, right?
Yeah.
Marriage and poison.
Gift.
Gift. And slick
Slick.
means candy or lick. It's the Learning Channel with Scrawny and Launders.
Can't say the youth are in good hands.
I feel like Rogue are really, I don't know, hesitant with this long play. We've seen like the complete and utter burst.
They look exactly like the Renegades.
Yeah, it's a scary prospect. I mean, you have the potential of those close corners. You see them clearing it with the Molotov and the wall spam. But like this position here from Liaz, you could have multiple bodies over here. You could have a guy ready to peek from pit or where Gratisfaction was. So this is why they're hesitant, because once they run outwards, you see them come to a grinding halt. The Gratisfaction, robbed of what looked like a connected shot.
Yeah. Honestly, not that consistent, man. Not that consistent. It's missed a lot of shots.
That is fair criticism. It's something we said we wanted to see. But still 2 versus 3.
Just so torn because you also seen him on land. So it's like, you could do it there.
Yeah. That's early season jitters.
Potentially, yeah.
You were nervous once.
For what?
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
what makes
that's
you nervous,
true.
Launders?
Yeah, that's a good way to call me out. I mean, yeah, at some point in my life, I definitely have been. What's that?
You were probably nervous the first time you met me.
I was nervous for you,
my
actually.
idol. Wow.
I was like, hope he's not nervous, and that made me nervous.
And then we bonded over a hockey game, and here we are 3 years later.
Did we?
Yeah, we went to the Bell Center.
That's
I
true.
thought we bonded over a hockey
That was a cool
game.
experience
That was a lot of fun.
because we got to go see Boxy games to it was a Canadians game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then the next day, they had cleared out the ice,
And
melted
we
all
were
the
there.
ice, and set up a stage, and we were casting on the rink.
Yep.
That was cool. Only in esports.
Ooh. Double smoke. How many they are left with? Still 2 left to go. So not all too bad here for Renegades. Just a little mistake. An oopsie doodle.
Oh, goodbye.
One hell of a shot.
Crystal, bye-bye.
Yeah. Swapping of the weapons, Vice to Ricky. Situation sticky for Rogue because there's still a man down. No trade frags for Crystal. But they did get out long. That's something that they've been hesitant with, and this time it's pretty quick.
That's a good first step.
And that's how they're supposed to do it, right? Step by step. Right now we've got that rotation for Renegades back over to the A site, looking to bolster the bit of a defense.
It's yeah, and Rogue has so much time. It seems like the rounds played out for so long at this point, but because they got that long control early, it speeds things up now moving forward. Can wait for this bomb to come all the way back around. I don't know if it made presence at B, and that's why there's still a couple of people standing there. But there's definitely more than enough CTs to justify sitting and waiting in this 5v4.
I think most games also start naturally slowing down when you're tied at 10 to 11 rounds. That was disgusting.
Gratisfaction, bye-bye.
Made me sick.
I hope people get that reference.
Kiko on the ramp, trying to move past, up closer towards these CTs. Azur pushed it to the open. Oh no. Molotov, a little delayed. He decides to go on his own terms. Now an additional volley, 10 seconds left. They need to get the bomb in, but again, the Flames licking at the feet of any possible planter, trying to spam through the windows of the taxi. Nothing seems to connect here for Rogue, and so the plant is in. Liaz has got a little bit of cover from these boxes, cannot seem to find any kind of an angle. Eventually gets the headshot, but Sick will nail one too. Kill feed full of them.
And that marks 7 rounds in a row for Rogue as they come back from an 11-4 half.
Man.
Look at that. They fought tooth and nail for every single one of those rounds.
Yep, it was not easy.
But
and I think that justifies the slower pace they took, because if you're taking your time, you're probably not making mistakes.
That's a good point. That definitely is a good point.
And I haven't seen anything from Renegades to disrupt that slower pace either, right? They can just sit 4 players outside of long doors. There's no mid control, there's no cat push, there's no tunnels lurk.
Yeah, and on CT side, you do have a lot of options to try to go for that. And again, like if someone is spending three players from the offense to take control of something, that means there is a weakness either on at the middle of the map or the other side. And it's up to Renegades to try to seek out that information. And again, it's just that you don't run out of options on CT side. And sometimes some of them are scary. You know, pushing up cat is terrifying. Having to deal with lower, you know, do you want to throw a Molotov in a lower and push up the top mid? Or do you want to try to do it dry and hope that no one comes at peak? So, you know, this is the risk that you must take. But there just are so many options that you would expect them to explore at least one of them.
I feel like, you know, if you compare, say, like Dust2 to Cash, like the options as a counter-terrorist are still there to get aggressive.
Oh, yeah, they're plentiful.
But would you say that it is more dangerous on Dust2?
Definitely, yeah. It's on Cash, it's not only that you have a lot of options, some of them are safer than sitting on the site. Oh.
Hello. Knock, knock, who's home? Absolutely no one.
No. That's not usually how that joke ends. But it is kind of an eco, I guess. So they, you know, as CTs, they're not going to be too hurt by this.
Yeah, again, a bit of a gamble stack. At least they do take map elsewhere.
Oh my goodness.
Flames and fire all at the feet. Gratisfaction denies the plant. There you go. It's actually coupled with Jacob finding a kill off that one M4.
Oh, someone's got to keep their hands busy on this bomb plant. They're getting close. I don't know if 2 of them push in without their teammates, but they might think about it. Yep, that's it.
Come on. Fool me once. But it happens twice. Ridiculous. Still now these other 2 CTs sectioned off. Vice could actually go clear mid. Yeah, there you go. Distracting it with the pistol spam too, but Jacob's in a great spot to just skewer the last remaining T's. The bomb's picked up and Jacob knocks them straight back down. The first round, we see Rogue get aggressive.
Just before they're about to take the lead.
Yeah, with a double bomb denial.
That was ridiculous. No one covering the bomb plant.
Yeah. I mean, the first time, all right.
Yeah.
The second...
It's an eco too, like they're gonna get crazy.
I think it's because there's actually nobody else within the bomb site, right? You already have a car player. So with a car player there and like a bit of a smoke.
Car player has line of sight on door and window.
But later than the site itself. Still, come on. Save your teammates. Bomb plant is pretty damn important. Oof.
Good night.
You go down immediately.
They're in limbo right now. They're kind of floating. They're hanging out at long, but they don't have control of cat or long at the moment. And Liaz isn't opping, so sitting at the corner is only going to be so effective. But Rogue haven't gone back for it, so we don't know exactly what they're going to be doing here. And now Renegades are in a 2-1-2 setup. I think they at least have an op out and not playing Markelov. That's one thing.
Of course, when you have that op in the corner, you need that mandatory long player, which is also a part of this one. So they're fine. They're sitting pretty, and they do also have this double man in mid. So catwalk to me is really the biggest question. If they use the utility that they most certainly have, then that's when the job gets hard for this opper. And we'll have to see whether or not Long decides to come help him. If our CT player comes up onto the ramp and tries to initiate from there. It's a very strong spot, but it's not always that easy. Ooh, I believe he's got a gap. Gratisfaction going to be trying to hold this angle, and he does stop Rikke first. This is where it gets really tough because he can just continue to retreat step by step, and sure enough, Azure comes upwards. That's off of the spawn, so the closest rotator already shutting this down. Beautiful stuff here from Renegades. What a solid hold.
Yeah, and there's much safer ways to take cat or take A with 5 on cat. And I think they had the utility to do it. It seemed like they did like a full-fledged execute, but they didn't have anyone drop into spawn, and that can be a risk. But there was a player in spawn that could have died there, and if you have people who are crossing while someone comes up the ramp on CT spawn, then the opera has to fall back. It just becomes too close of an engagement, or it's a really easy shot to miss. And they didn't put pressure on him. Instead, they just let him pick his angle, fall back to the next fight, shoot another guy, and they were hoping that their opper was going to get lucky on where he stopped and see if a CT like falls into his angle. Unlikely.
So already identifying an improvement that could be made, but Rogue do not decide to make the same play. They've gone to the B tunnels instead, and here we have it. A little bit of an exploration towards Catwalk from Gratisfaction.
You can kind of say it up here. This is scary. The people who jump up on the box can have their heads appear anywhere. JKS intended to throw that Molotov. Good time to do it for sure, though.
You've seen at least 2 players cross over. I mean, that just screams a middle setup. And normally, if your Catwalk player is not pressured off just yet, you know doors could be in question. So he will retreat back into the site. And at least Rogue, by showing this presence down here, remember, they haven't shot a bullet. They haven't used anything other than a flashbang. And in doing so, they've had this defense kind of kernel up. Now they're out and past. Gratisfaction. Oh, he's got a bit of an angle here. A backstab into Vice. Knows there's another close. And despite the no-scope going astray, it's still all just locked down quickly. Renegades 14. And off of what was a very momentous start to this T side, Rogue are now coming up empty-handed.
Definitely, yeah. And that is the tough part about comebacks, is constantly reinventing yourself, especially when you have to do it on T side. If you let that many rounds slip, you just have to, there's just so much ingenuity required to be able to like really trick a CT team over and over again on such a simple map. So now we're seeing that finally unravel in front of our faces, and Rogue are back on a save. Actually, they are playing for OT.
Now the Mighty have fallen. This was 7 consecutive rounds from their T side, which sounds impressive until you remember that Renegades had 8 in a row on theirs.
Yeah.
So the difference being that within that 7, pistol round included, it was pure gun domination from the majority Aussie side.
So exploring cat presence once again are Rogue. And instead of using utility, just throwing a body across the screen. Gratisfaction hits a wide one.
Just narrowly getting past there. Crystal thought maybe he had at least some safety, and then it's the pistols to still get the job done. That's a couple of rapid kills. And Jacob's attacking from the backside, so these T's, they know they need to push forward, but in doing so, they find another rifleman. It's not an easy job dueling with just these sidearms, and so the utility and rifles definitely reign supreme. AWP not going to be grandfathered forward because they already had one. And 2, unnecessary. But
yeah,
like we said, playing for overtime, Rogue, they knew they'd be in this situation. So as they reinvest, they have to recognize the fact that 4 in a row, or it is a Dust2 loss for them.
Yeah, good to see some of the discipline here. I know it can be hard as a team to take a match like this and then think, all right, we're just going to pull out all the stops, really, grind this out. We're willing to take this OT. We're risking losing a round that we maybe could have won. But credit to them for doing it. They really believe that if they have the correct utility, they have a game plan that can get them out of the rough of things. And so I like that. Definitely like that. But that being said, Renegades took these last 4 rounds. History would tell you they would do it again.
Night grenade. Woof. That one hurts.
That's a money made.
Crystal says 9.
Now it's just 2 up.
It's not looking good here, Launders. Looks like the Renegades are establishing a 5th win this season, and obviously Ghost off to a hot start. Renegades not dispatching of the top contenders, but still to just show this gelling factor. Really nice for a new roster to come out swinging big.
Yeah, not a single map you can sleep on. It gets so tight in the last week. Every single win counts for something.
Yeah, taking down top dogs is great, but getting the wins that you're supposed to can sometimes be even better. Lets you fixate on those bigger challenges once they come. Jacob, just no challenges at all. 2 headshots and a swift victory to take this first map. Dust2, again, just very streaky. 8 rounds on the T side for Renegades, 7 in a row for Rogue. Makes it look like they had something going, but it is cut short. I mean, all it took was a tactical pause, and then right after that, it was nothing but Renegades.
Yeah, good memory there. That's a really good point. It's crazy how tight this looked. I mean, I don't even know. They have like a lot of stuff in common, which is the most interesting part about their Dust2, is just the way that they approach ball control, how they really draw those rounds, and it seemed like they had a consistent way to do this on the T side, so look good from both sides.
So we'll see you guys on Mirage for the last map of the second day this season. Do not go anywhere.